The North Atlantic Treaty Organization, better known as NATO, stands as a testament to the post-World War II desire for lasting peace and security. It was a bold initiative aimed at ensuring that the horrors of global conflict would never be repeated. Born in 1949 from the ashes of a devastating conflict, NATO brought together nations on both sides of the Atlantic under a common banner of collective defense. This alliance was not just a military pact, but a symbol of unity and shared purpose. The founding members, haunted by the horrors of war, sought to forge an alliance that would deter aggression and safeguard their shared values of democracy, freedom, and the rule of law. For over 7 decades, NATO has served as a bulwark against potential threats, evolving and adapting to the changing geopolitical landscape. The early years of NATO were defined by the Cold War, a period of intense ideological rivalry between the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc. The alliance served as a critical counterweight to Soviet expansionism, deterring aggression through a combination of military strength and political unity. The presence of American troops in Europe, symbolized by the Berlin Wall, provided a tangible assurance of NATO's commitment to defending its members. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and the subsequent collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a watershed moment in history. NATO, however, did not cease to exist with the demise of its Cold War adversary. Instead, the alliance underwent a period of transformation, adapting to the new realities of a post-Cold War world. The collapse of the Soviet Union created new challenges and uncertainties. The geopolitical landscape was rapidly changing, and NATO had to navigate this new environment carefully. The former Soviet republics, now independent nations, grappled with political and economic instability, creating fertile ground for ethnic conflicts and regional tensions. NATO had to redefine its purpose and adapt to a more complex and multifaceted security environment. The alliance expanded its membership to include former Soviet satellite states in Eastern Europe, extending its security umbrella eastward. This expansion, while welcomed by many as a sign of NATO's enduring relevance, also sparked debate and controversy. Critics, particularly in Russia, viewed NATO enlargement as a provocative move, encroaching upon Russia's traditional sphere of influence. The relationship between NATO and Russia, once characterized by cautious cooperation, gradually deteriorated, paving the way for renewed tensions and mistrust. At the heart of NATO lies the principle of collective defense, enshrined in Article 5 of the North Atlantic Treaty. This principle is the foundation upon which the alliance was built and continues to operate. This cornerstone stipulates that an attack against one member is an attack against all. It binds the member nations together in mutual defense. Often referred to as the one for all for one pledge, it ensures no member stands alone in the face of aggression. It sends a clear message to any adversary that an attack on one will be met with a unified response from the entire alliance. This principle was invoked only once, after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks on the United States. The attacks tested the alliance's resolve, requiring a unified and decisive response. NATO members rallied behind the United States, providing military and logistical support for the invasion of Afghanistan. This demonstrated the alliance's readiness to act collectively and reinforced the importance of unity. The collective defense principle is underpinned by a robust military structure and a shared commitment to defense spending. NATO members contribute to the alliance's military capabilities, ensuring it has the necessary resources to deter and defeat an attack. The alliance maintains a sophisticated command structure, capable of coordinating operations across multiple domains. Regular exercises ensure NATO forces are prepared to operate seamlessly together, enhancing readiness. The effectiveness of collective defense hinges on political unity and a shared sense of purpose among its members. Disagreements among allies can undermine NATO's cohesion. Addressing these issues is crucial for maintaining strength. The rise of populism and nationalism in some member states poses challenges to maintaining a unified front. The alliance's ability to address internal divisions and present a credible deterrent is crucial for navigating the evolving security environment. To contemplate a world without NATO is to envision a seismic shift in the global order, one where the old certainties of the post-World War II era crumble, unraveling the intricate web of alliances and partnerships that have maintained relative peace and stability, leaving behind a void of uncertainty and potential chaos, a landscape where the rules of engagement are rewritten and the specter of conflict looms larger than ever. The immediate fallout of such a scenario would reverberate across the globe, sending shockwaves through the international system and upending the delicate balance of power that has prevailed for decades, causing economic turmoil and political instability. For the nations of Europe, long accustomed to the security umbrella provided by NATO, the sudden absence of this collective shield would be a jarring wake-up call, forcing them to confront new and old threats on their own. The comforting presence of American troops on European soil, a tangible symbol of the transatlantic bond, would vanish, leaving many to wonder if the United States, once a guarantor of European security, would retreat into isolationism, abandoning its allies to fend for themselves in an increasingly hostile world. The initial reaction in European capitals would likely be a mix of disbelief, denial, and a scramble for reassurances, as leaders grapple with the new reality and seek to reassure their anxious populations. Frantic diplomatic efforts would be launched to salvage what remains of the transatlantic partnership, seeking assurances of continued American commitment to European security, while also exploring new alliances and partnerships to fill the void. However, the damage would be done, and the psychological impact of NATO's dissolution would be profound. The trust and confidence that underpinned the alliance for decades would be shattered, leaving a legacy of suspicion and resentment, and a sense of betrayal that could take generations to heal. In the absence of a unified NATO response, individual European nations would be left to grapple with the daunting task of providing for their own security, a challenge that many are ill-prepared to meet. Defense budgets, long neglected under the assumption of collective protection, would need to be drastically increased, straining national economies and diverting resources from other critical areas. Military conscription, once a relic of the past, might be reconsidered as a means of bolstering depleted ranks, bringing back memories of a bygone era of compulsory service. However, these efforts, undertaken in haste and without a clear strategic vision, would be insufficient to fill the void left by NATO, leaving Europe vulnerable and uncertain about its future. In a world without the stabilizing presence of NATO, Europe would find itself adrift in a sea of uncertainty, its security landscape transformed beyond recognition. The old certainties that had underpinned the continent's post-Cold War order would evaporate, replaced by a complex and unpredictable web of competing national interests, regional rivalries, and potential flashpoints. Without the collective defense guarantee provided by Article 5, European nations would be forced to confront their own vulnerabilities, both individually and collectively. The smaller states, long accustomed to sheltering under NATO's protective umbrella, would feel particularly exposed, their limited military capabilities dwarfed by the potential threats they might face. The European Union, often touted as a potential alternative to NATO, would face a moment of truth. Could it, despite its internal divisions and lack of a unified military force, step up to fill the security vacuum left by NATO's demise? The answer is far from certain. While the EU has made strides in recent years towards developing a common security and defense policy, it remains a work in progress, hampered by bureaucratic hurdles, conflicting national priorities, and a lack of political will among some member states. The absence of a credible deterrent, once provided by NATO's collective might, would likely embolden potential aggressors who might be tempted to test the resolve of a fractured and uncertain Europe. Border disputes, long dormant, could reignite, fueled by nationalist rhetoric and historical grievances. The potential for miscalculation and escalation would be high, with the risk of a regional conflict escalating into a wider conflagration looming large.